How's it going, everybody? PK Investing here. In this exciting video, I'm going to go over a new position I opened in my investing portfolio, as well as show you how coffee and Bitcoin are related. I'll also be going over some new channel merch, so make sure you stick around until the very end. Those of you who have followed my channel for a long time or have interacted with me on Discord know that I'm a dividend growth investor. I like investing in high quality companies that also pay out a sustainable and growing dividend. I also tend to stay away from investments that pay little to no dividends, which is why you're going to be surprised by this next part when I tell you that I've recently invested in Bitcoin. Well, not actual Bitcoin, but a Bitcoin ETF. I'm talking about the Fidelity Origin Bitcoin Fund. While this seems like an unlikely investment for me, I feel like it was a long time coming. To better understand why I've done this, let me explain my views on finance and society. I've done some searching on Google, and it turns out that on average, only about 3 out of 10 Americans are financially literate. This means that about 2/3 of Americans are financially illiterate. Our Congress is elected by these Americans, which means that we can extrapolate and assume that about 2/3 of Congress is financially illiterate also. We can even give them the benefit of the doubt and say that only half of them are financially illiterate. As the gold standard hasn't been a thing since before many of us were even born, this essentially puts the value of the dollar in the hands of the federal government, who, as we've established, is made up of too many financially illiterate people. And this brings us to Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin in US dollars frequently changes, but its underlying value does not. In a sense, Bitcoin is the gold standard of the modern age. This new Bitcoin standard is something I'm optimistic about, and while it has yet to be universally adopted, I think it's inevitable. So how can someone invest in Bitcoin? Typically, folks go through crypto exchanges like Kraken or Coinbase, and they can store their Bitcoin in a crypto wallet. Alternatively, one can invest in a Bitcoin ETF. This offers a bit more flexibility since it means you can invest in Bitcoin using any type of account that lets you trade ETFs. This is the option I went with, and my ETF of choice is Fidelity's recently released Fidelity Origin Bitcoin Fund. The fund currently trades under the ticker FBTC. FBTC's only holding is Bitcoin, so it's as close to investing in Bitcoin as you can get without directly buying Bitcoin itself. Unlike other Bitcoin ETFs that usually use other carriers to custody their Bitcoin, Fidelity custodies its own Bitcoin, which increases my confidence in them. And as an incentive to invest in FBTC, Fidelity is waiving the expense ratio until the end of July 2024. But in August 2024, we'll see an expense ratio of 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. I think that's a reasonable expense ratio, all things considered. Just a side note, FBTC is technically an ETP, an exchange-traded product. It isn't an ETF because the only asset it holds is Bitcoin, which isn't a security. I only refer to it as an ETF to make it easier to understand, but keep in mind that it's an ETP, not an ETF. So here's my own initial purchase of FBTC. I bought 100 shares at $37.70 per share. This isn't something I'm planning to swing trade or use to get rich quick. I have confidence in Bitcoin and its increasing value, and this is one of the ways I'm hedging against inflation and the weaknesses of fiat currency. Drop a comment down below telling me how you feel about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole. Did any of you buy FBTC? If not, what methods are you using to hedge against inflation? Changing gears a bit, I'm excited to announce that PK Investing merchandise is finally available. I have to warn you though, the product selection is extremely limited right now. How limited, you ask? Well, I've got just one product, 2 if you count the individual listings. One side has the new PK Investing logo with the Latin phrase Libertatem per passivam reditus, which translates to freedom through passive income. The other side has my version of Live, Laugh, Love, which is Eat, Sleep, Invest. The mugs themselves are pretty good quality. I bought a few to try out myself and I really like how they turned out. Personally, I preferred the black mug over the white one. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I'll include a link to the merch store down in the description. I plan on releasing more designs in the future, so stay tuned. If you're a longtime member of Gen X's Dividend Discord server, you'll know that I'm a fan of coffee. I'm not addicted to caffeine, but I do enjoy a cup of joe. Back in the day, I used to be a coffee purist. I only ever bought medium roast ground coffee and drank it black. I was a simple man who enjoyed a simple cup of coffee. I never got the appeal of fancy coffee, like the stuff you get from Starbucks. On very rare occasions, and I mean maybe once or twice a year, I would put a little bit of hazelnut creamer in my coffee, but that was as far as I was willing to go. Then my girlfriend came along, and while she isn't a big coffee drinker herself, she does enjoy the occasional fancy drink. One thing we've been doing is trying different flavors of coffee. Like last fall, we bought some pumpkin spice flavored coffee, which I enjoyed. And around Christmas, we tried vanilla flavored coffee. Right now, we're working our way through a package of cherry flavored coffee, which I'm really enjoying. She's also convinced me to add a bit of sugar and flavored creamer to my coffee, but that's something I only do about once a week, usually as a weekend treat. I guess that goes to show that we shouldn't be afraid of trying new things or stepping out of our comfort zones. A few years ago, I never would have wanted to invest in anything even remotely related to Bitcoin. And a few years ago, I also never would have wanted to drink flavored coffee. But sometimes, if you revisit ideas or reevaluate your goals, you might find yourself trying something new and enjoying it. And speaking of enjoying things, if you enjoyed watching this video, consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel to show your support. And make sure you hit the bell notification icon and select to be notified whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to check out the new PK Investing store. Thank you so much for everything, and I'll speak with you again real soon. I am not a financial advisor. Investing always involves risk. This video was created for entertainment purposes only.